In November 2022, police officers were searching the home of Reed Wischusen in Wick St Lawrence near Weston-super-Mare when he went into the bathroom and fired a gun. He then ran at firearms officers, raising the weapon. He was shot and wounded. While doctors fought to save him, he was unable to talk to the police. Detective Chief Inspector Simon Dewfall was called in to investigate the shooting.
The first incident of this type that I've come across in my career.
Whilst Wischusen was in hospital, the police searched the property thoroughly.
The first challenge was trying to establish exactly what we were dealing with. Every room we went into, every cupboard we opened, we found something nasty, dangerous. We found explosives, we found chemicals. I would describe it as a house of horrors. Most concerning was the machine gun he manufactured himself, and that machine gun would have fired multiple rounds with one single press of the trigger. At the back of the property, we found Mr. Wischusen's laboratory. He had all the equipment needed to make homemade ammunition. We found weapons, we found explosives, we found chemicals, but there was no intelligence to suggest he was part of any terrorism threat. So none of these things were making any sense. And then after about a week, we had a breakthrough in the case where we downloaded the contents of his laptop, and on there we found a document which put everything into perspective.
Wischusen had named the document Revenge. It laid out a step-by-step plan to exact revenge on a number of people from his past and commit mass murder.
The thought that went through my mind was just one of sheer horror. The document was 1,700 words long and actually detailed an attack plan that involved attacking teachers and school children, and it then involved him driving to police headquarters, shooting police officers, police staff before setting off pressure cooker bombs at the evacuation point. We also found a diary that detailed in some length the grievances he had with various individuals that had wronged him in life, and that went back as far as school. Mr. Wischusen had an obsession with mass shootings. He researched Timothy McVeigh in America. He'd researched the Columbine shootings. We now understood why he had the firearms, why he had the explosives, why he had the chemicals.
Whilst Wischusen was in hospital, the detectives reviewed the police body cam footage of the shooting.
Having watched that body worn over and over and over again, there's a clear moment where he's readying himself for what he's about to do. You can see him on camera making an attempt to grab the firearm in the hip pocket. He stops doing that when he notices the firearms officer looking at him. And then his body language changes. He becomes very nervous and anxious. And then he downs a can of energy drink before he goes up to the bathroom, where he then discharges the firearm. We know he fired a shot, and we know he pulled the trigger a second time because a round was stuck in the chamber and the gun failed to go off the second time. We believe he tried to kill himself in the bathroom, but for whatever reason was unsuccessful.
Miraculously, Wischusen recovered from his injuries. 4 months later, police were able to bring him in for questioning. They were horrified by what he had to say.
Is that the submachine gun that you're referring to?
Yes.
The one that was under the bed?
Yeah.
In bits?
Yeah. That's the Pride and Joy.
That's the Pride and Joy.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your plan? How are you going to make
1,000 rounds.
1,000 rounds?
But watching that interview, the video interview of him, I found really chilling. He almost appeared quite proud of what he'd been able to manufacture. At times, he was laughing.
Have you got any kind of fantasy with mass shootings or any macabre sort of interest in that sort of thing?
I bet, yeah.
He claimed this was all just fantasy. I didn't believe that for 1 minute. He had put a lot of time and effort into it. Bringing on his telephone, he'd taken a photograph of himself in the uniform holding a firearm, and that sent chills certainly through my spine and everybody on the investigation as they saw that image and thought about what might have happened. This case ultimately hinged on whether Mr. Wushusen's plans were fantasy or not, and it was ultimately down to a jury to decide.
A man from North Somerset has been found guilty of plotting a series of mass shootings where he planned to kill children and teachers from his former school, as well as police officers.
On the 13th of October 2023, Reid Wushusen was sentenced to life imprisonment for possessing explosive substances and firearms with the intent to endanger life.
I'm relieved that he's been given the sentence that he has. I'm relieved that he's not going to be able to walk freely in society, because that's exactly the sort of person that needs to be behind bars.
So now, being in possession of the full facts of what was in the house and what Wushusen was planning to do, I feel immensely proud of the way we acted and responded on that day. Mr. Wushusen is a very, very dangerous individual.
This could have been an unimaginable event if Mr. Wushusen had seen these plans through to completion, and I'm just so thankful that we knocked on his door that morning.